responded to an action by Twitter, which was the taking down of a tweet by Twitter, a tweet by President Muhammadu Buhari. And there was something the president tweeted. There was something the president tweeted that was taken down by Twitter. And then there was another tweet after the federal government had said, we are going to ban Twitter operations in Nigeria. Anyway, so the federal government, after that initial post that people should, or Twitter operations should be stopped in Nigeria, also went on to give other directives in the days that followed. So the first tweet was on Friday, and then on Saturday, Nigerians went behind using what they call VPN to bypass the major networks to also be able to tweet. And then the government says, no, Twitter operations means that Twitter is not allowed. If you're in Nigeria, you cannot tweet. So where we are now, the NBC, for broadcast stations, the NBC has said Nigerian media houses should not tweet. In fact, they said we should deactivate a Twitter account. That's the latest. But yesterday, the federal government met with the US, the UK, and was it Australia? And they were talking about this matter because these countries have come out to say we're not in support of the ban. So the diplomatic missions were in that meeting yesterday. We're not in support of the ban. We think that it's against the fundamental human rights of the people. Yeah, so those present: Canada, the US, European Union, the UK, and the Republic of Ireland. They're not in support of the president's action. And what the federal government said to them through the Foreign Affairs Minister, Geoffrey Oyema, was that he cannot determine for now the duration of the Twitter suspension, saying that it is the responsibility of the government and the democracy to protect law, order, and human lives. So we'll be talking about the policy of this Twitter ban. A lot of people have been outraged for days, and they still don't understand why, because the president's tweet was brought down. The entire nation should, be forced not to tweet any longer. Okay, so I would read the original post that President Buhari made, because I had a chat with someone afterwards. So the tweet was deleted by Twitter. I had a chat with someone afterwards, and the person was saying that the tone of the message was suggestive of, reopening the wounds of the civil war. That was genocidal in nature. And Twitter said the tweet violated its abusive behavior policy. All right, so we'll look at that this morning. I've got Dr. Williams Wodi. He would analyze that for us this morning. Good morning, sir.
Thank you very much, and let me especially welcome your very distinguished listeners.
All right, so many people do not know this, but I'd like you to tell us, is Nigeria the first country that is having this kind of interaction with Twitter? Ban, suspension, outlawing it?
Absolutely not. Recently, those of your listeners who are very ardent devotees to international affairs would know that Israel, during the Palestinian-Israeli, the latest war, the war is always
the international media refused to call war. They were calling it violence.
Absolutely, it's not violence, war. The Israeli government very, very agonizingly attacked Twitter and made all manner of complaints that Twitter was giving more voice to the Palestinians alongside Al Jazeera. And so Israel is the latest. And then Uganda shut down Twitter when they had elections last year. Canada, you won't believe it, Canada. Yesterday, France slammed a huge fine, not on Twitter but on Google, for antitrust trade against French competitors. If you check the amount of money EU countries, the United States, Canada had fined some of these big, was it Amazon, Twitter, Google, Facebook is unbelievable. It rose into hundreds of billions, if not some trillions of dollars. And so, to answer you directly, North Korea had never allowed Twitter to operate there. Yesterday, I was listening to the news, and the Russian strongman, Mr. Putin, was saying that he didn't care whether to Twitter or any other platform put him on, deleted him, suspended him, that he didn't bother. All he bothered was to serve the Russian people, whatever that meant. So you have to understand, I'm sure your listeners do understand, that right from the inception of the modern media, about the 17th century, when the newspaper started circulating and all that, people started, there has been a running battle between governments and the media. The wrong thing that happened to the media is that they were labeled the fourth estate of the realm. The first estate, the executive, has constitutional powers. The second realm, the legislature, has executive power. It has the legislative powers. The third estate of the realm, judiciary, has interpretative powers of the law. The fourth estate of the realm, the media, unfortunately, doesn't have any of such powers. You give a dog a big name, you hang it. So the media has been fighting battles in democratic countries. Some of your listeners tell you that Donald Trump was suspended and Twitter did nothing. And I want to let you know,
and the US did nothing.
Dating back to the time he won election, he didn't hide the fact that he was going to come back a second tenure to deal with first Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon. And then he was going to deal with Twitter. He would deal with all the online platforms that were, attacking America, and all that was how he put it. So it was not for the lack of intention, it was for the lack of power that Joe Biden upstaged him. Otherwise, the story would be different.
Okay, so in China, Twitter is officially blocked. Iran, North Korea, Turkmenistan. Then Nigeria is the latest. Venezuela blocked Twitter images temporarily in 2014. Turkey, Tanzania, during the election week.
Uganda.
Yeah. South Korea, Russia, Pakistan, Israel, India, France. Uganda, that was that pastor, right? The pastor that was telling people to observe sit at home?
No, it was with Bobby Wine, the man who was contesting against the strong man, Yoweri Museveni, who wants to rule from the grave. He wants to rule from the grave too if he dies.
Okay, so let's get to it. When you heard that the president had, or the federal government had ordered Twitter operations to be suspended, did you think he acted out of order? Did you think it was being high-handed? Did you think it was being autocratic?
If you put it along the side by side, with all the other states we mentioned, he has company. You could say dubious company, and that will be a matter of perception. And let's just start this conversation proper from the point of view of perception. And the use of language. When you say something, people are bound to interpret what you have said. What you said may be different from what the people are interpreting. Yeah. The president, I am not... I have been very much I'm agonizing over how the country has gone in recent times. I've been I've been on 8 years for a while. Nigeria hasn't been so bad. I'm not looking for anybody to blame. Collectively or individually, Nigeria hasn't gone well. So the tweet itself was not properly thought through. But when you look at the issue of perceiving that tweet, you will find that he was acting probably in his own perception as a father admonishing children who didn't witness the war to take a look around and see what war looks like. And he himself was in the trenches for 30 months, that he understood what the war meant, and that they should ask their fathers if those people who fought the war, those are people who are not talking about war. And so, having said that, and that then the caveat, the hashtag, will speak to you in the language you understand. That is the bottom line of that statement. Now, every other thing he said up to that point made sense to me. And then the last line, it will teach you the language you understand. That is like the language of us as fathers, us as mothers, as leaders, saying, well, I will teach you a lesson so that you will understand. So if you asked the president what he meant at that point, or any other person who perceived the statement he made in the light in which he made it, it will be that he was warning them not to instigate war, that the consequences will be there. But then some people, that's why I told you when you invited me to this station, I'm here to talk about the policy aspect and not the political aspect, because the policy aspect is from the head is the center of reasoning. The political aspect is from the heart is the center of emotions. And so, and in this era, in the post-truth era, that's where we are now, which is an offshoot of globalization. Truth has become the first casualty in public discourse and in public space. How so? People are increasingly inconvenient, very, very uncomfortable, with what others say. People are comfortable with what they say and how they want to say it, and they want to believe what they say. And then they listen to people who believe in what they believe in and shut out any other person who doesn't believe in what they believe in. That is why Nigeria, that is why America, that is why several other countries that believe in pluralistic societies are getting into trouble. Those days, news came from NTA. After NTA, they shut down. Now there's a variety of sources of getting news. Now you tune to if you go to America, for instance, Fox News and the others are strictly on the right. CNN and others are on the left. So if you want to listen to CNN, you are a liberal. You want to listen to Fox News, you are a Republican, you are a right-wing person. To that extent, they make sure that they don't tune to the other station. So when this public discourse happens, truth is perceived from the point of view of the person propagating it. Most people who come to your station here, there's a particular statement they make in your station here. The truth of the matter is, if you look at philosophical foundation of that statement, truth of the matter is a convenient way of selling your own personal opinion. The French philosopher Andrew Gide says that there is no absolute truth, that there is one truth this way, one truth that way, and the truth itself is a shade in between the two truths people are propagating. And therefore, when people come here and say the truth of the matter is, what they are simply telling you, they are propagating their own, they are selling their personal viewpoints and passing it across as truth that should be regarded as a universal statement. And that is the problem with public discourse in Nigeria today: perception of what people say and then domesticating it to suit your own personal belief. And that's the reason why Nigerians cannot talk to each other now, and that's why there's so much hatred and so much polarization in the public space of discourse.
Yeah, but then again, with all the things you've said, if the president knew this, then perhaps his utterance would have come out in a way that would not be having this conversation and the Twitter ban. I
take you back again to the issue of perception, that the president and those handling him may not have perceived what he said as a threat or genocidal. Genocide is a very strong language. Yeah. Around the world, governments and the societies make sure that nobody labels them genocidal, because that goes with a lot of global pariah status and punishment on that economic and political front. And so when you say it's a genocidal, it's a perception. People perceive it to be genocidal. Because let me tell you, there's something called a man of straw in law. I'm not a lawyer. A man of straw is that if I came here and destroyed this studio and then Nigerian Info takes me to court, I go there, I plead guilty, and they say, okay, I should pay 10 billion naira to replace everything here. And you know, I said, the judge, please take me to jail. That's a man of straw. Somebody who has a big mouth, he can say anything, but he can't defend what he has said. He's not worth anything. So, President Muhammadu Buhari said what he said became meaningful because of the public office, the powerful and high public office he holds. If you, I go through Twitter all the time and I see what people say. You are a goat. You are this. I will kill you. I will this on Twitter. Nigerians are bantering against each other on Twitter because they are all like me, men of straw, ordinary people. Or women of straw, sorry, let me be fair to the women. Nobody takes the people of straw, yes, thanks. Nobody really listens to them. But when the president said it, it became a matter of interpretation. Perception means that people perceive the story from the angle they want to perceive it because of their previously held position based on the media or the medium they are exposed to. That is why public discourse has become very difficult in this country, and we need to change that.
Okay, so where did Twitter go wrong?
Where Twitter went wrong is this. First of all, remember Twitter has had 3 positions since this thing happened. First of all, we are deeply concerned by the suspension. Secondly, we are going to give Nigeria, we're going to bypass the Nigerian ban and give Nigerians a platform to continue tweeting. Third, we are going to enter into a conversation with Nigeria, and that's what Geoffrey Oyama told us yesterday, the Foreign Affairs Minister, they are doing. If that is the truth, what it simply means is that if Twitter comes around to discuss with the federal government of Nigeria, as they have discussed with other governments that have been in trouble with them, it simply means that there's something they are doing wrong that should be put right. That's 1. 2, this conversation should be taken back to some matter of conceptual definitions. The first is freedom of speech versus social responsibility. And anybody who went to media school, and my students, if they are listening to me, they will realize that there are 4 theories of journalism I teach them, the media theories they call them. But the ones that are relevant to our conversation this morning is the libertarian theory and the social responsibility theory. There's a third one, they call it the development theory, invented by third world dictators to keep their power in place. That one is also allied to social responsibility theory. But let me take the libertarian theory. Simply states about the 17th century, some people said, oh, when newspapers started becoming so powerful, I said, we are free to say whatever we like. Nobody should talk to us. We can say anything, until it became very injurious to the media and to society. And people then came up with the social responsibility theory. And they said, you cannot go into a crowded cinema hall and shout fire. And it's, when they catch them, some people jump over, some people are injured, some people are stampeded, some people are dead. And they ask you, what happened? They said, well, I was exercising my libertarian theory to speak what I want. They said, you must exercise your freedom with a dose of social responsibility.
But that takes us back to the president. Was that applied?
No, the president was applying the development theory of the media. And that's why I just put it as the third one used by third world dictators. And so these 2 theories they contradict each other. Now, nobody is allowed to exercise unlimited freedom. It's not possible. Somebody cannot come to a window and shoot a gun that has liberty. Now, nobody is allowed to exercise so much freedom that he cannot have social responsibility. And that's why the Austrian psychoanalyst Scott Levin says that there should be media gates. And those media gates, from the editor-in-chief, editor, sub-editor, line editors, the news editor, they should check the news before it gets to the public to ensure that certain things are not put out there. Then those who believe in absolute unfettered freedom of the press say, no, that is censorship. And so the good thing about this is that we must find a middle ground on how to reconcile those who want absolute freedom, unfettered freedom, and those who want social responsibility. And that is where the Nigerian conversation is right now. Do we allow people to say what they want completely unfettered, or do we also exercise our freedom with a dose of social responsibility? These are the 2 theories that are competing for space in Nigeria today, because the constitutional requirement says, the Constitution of Nigeria says, especially 1999 Constitution as amended, says everybody, all Nigerians, are allowed to exercise their freedom of they receive and impart ideas. The American Constitution says clearly, in unmistakable terms, not any other amendment, the first amendment, Congress shall make no law to abridge the freedom of expression, freedom of speech. So it precedes amendment number 2, the second amendment that says everybody is free to bear arms. So that's how important freedom of speech is. But when you begin to look at other amendments, they also moderate that first amendment to say that you cannot shout fire in a crowded cinema hall and hope that you're exercising your social responsibility. Nigerians on their own, some people practice what they call self-censorship. Because the theory of social responsibility says that if you destroy society exercising your libertarian theory, your liberty to say whatever you like, there will be nothing, whether you're a media person, whether you are an individual, a free citizen, there will be nothing else for you to report. You'll be on the run and you cannot report again. So that is why we pick the middle ground. And that middle ground is that everybody should exercise his individual liberty. As I'm sitting here, I am all for freedom of the press. But the difference you must know is that the traditional media was properly moderated. The social media cannot be moderated because it operates in cyberspace. The microblogging systems, they are completely free. For instance, look at what governments around the world, not just the federal government, they are all against. Twitter was founded in 2006 by Jack Dorsey and 3 others. By 2009, they had become so famous. By 2009, they were tweeting 100 million persons or more. We are tweeting 340 million times per day. And then also per day, we have 1.6 billion searches per day on Twitter. So what that tells you is that all
is bigger than the
governments of the world are up against a behemoth. But the problem here is that Twitter is not a government. Twitter is not a country. Twitter does not obey the diplomatic niceties. Twitter doesn't have embassies around the world so that you can go and complain to them. Twitter operates in countries that allow them to do business. Those countries collect taxes from them, sanction them, and then what other thing you asked me Twitter did wrong? 29 million Nigerians tweet. Less than 4 million Ghanaians tweet. Twitter snubbed Nigeria and went to Ghana to establish its global headquarters. Economics could have moderated that. Insecurity in Nigeria could have moderated that. But then, those things, you asked me the crimes, Twitter and what is wrong with Twitter. The other thing that's wrong with Twitter, it's a matter of perception now, what I perceive. Let me be very fair to your listeners, because I've been talking about perception, so I cannot impose my views on them. The other thing is that last year when we had NSAS, End Police Brutality, Twitter allowed Nigerians, minus Twitter, Nigerians wouldn't have had a successful anti-police protest. But there was a flip side to it. Jack Dawson came all out in plain sight. He didn't hide and encouraged a setting up of funds, mobilized funds for some people who are on that, who are leading that faceless organization. It didn't stop there. He went a step further and set up a special emoji site where
emoji for the protest.
Absolutely. Yeah. So those two things sent a wrong. The federal government, the Twitter raised a red flag to the federal government. You know, if somebody is looking for you, my people, the Ikore people, my people in Rumibo, they said that if somebody is looking for you, you try to make sure you don't fall into the person's hand, because if you do, the person has every justification that you submitted yourself for slaughter or for any kind of sanction.
That's what Jack Dorsey has done?
Yes, that's what Jack Dawson has done, and he's done it quite around the world. The other argument, the other lame argument that DGWTO is on the board of Twitter. That's why Twitter is doing it, because she's Igbo. That's a very, very terrible argument. I don't accept that.
I didn't even hear that.
No, I don't accept that.
The conversation continues. I've got Dr. Williams Wodi. We're talking about the Twitter ban and all the things that are coming out of it, and he's pointed out some of the things that he believes that Twitter did wrong. Stay with us. We're Nigerian for Port Harcourt. My name is Enoh Ogbevire. Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817 001 8162. That is 0817 001 8162. And let us connect you to your customers. Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817 001 8162. That is 0817 001 8162. and let us connect you to your customers. Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817 001 8162. That is 0817 001 8162. And let us connect you to your customers. Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817 001 8162. That is 0817 001 8162. And let us connect you to your customers. Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817 001 8162. That is 0817 001 8162. And let us connect you to your customers. Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817 001 8162. That is 0817 001 8162. And let us connect you to your customers. Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817 001 8162. That is 0817 001 8162. And let us connect you to your customers. Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817 001 8162. That is 0817 001 8162. And let us connect you to your customers. Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817 001 8162. That is 0817 001 8162. And let us connect you to your customers. Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies.
3 Nigeria Info.
We're looking at the Twitter ban by the federal government. My name is Enoh Ogbevire, and this is 92.3 Nigeria Info, Port Harcourt. I've got Dr. Williams Wodi. He's an analyst on the matter this morning. Okay, some messages here, sir. Then we will continue the conversation. This one reads, With the analysis of your guests, my anger for Mr. President on the Twitter ban is reducing. Please, Nigerian folks should be inviting more of such intellectuals to enlighten us. And I think your guest said there's no absolute truth. That's exactly what he's trying to display. He said because it is the president, that's why Twitter deleted it. It's a big lie. Did you say that? I didn't hear that.
No, I didn't say that. is how he perceives. It also brings about the perception. I didn't say that.
No, I think he was talking about the position.
Yeah, let me repeat what I said. I said that the president was correct in his tweet until he got to a point where he said, "I will teach you a lesson," like a headmaster admonishing a recalcitrant pupil. That headmaster flogs the pupil, but is not prepared to throw the pupil away. The pupil goes back to the classroom. Perception is that in his position, that kind of statement blew overboard. That's what I meant.
All right. Okay. Buhari is not bigger than many of us, including myself, that have been suspended twice for using words against Twitter. Is it words against Twitter or words on Twitter? Suspension is equal and for everyone, even if you're president. Lastly, he said Buhari might not mean what he wrote. Is it that he doesn't know his words were suicidal and, reminiscence of bad memories? Are you saying he didn't know or he doesn't know what he writes? What if he knew that it was suicidal and decided to use it to scare the Southeast region, but at the end he turned against him? Don't defend the president. He knows every meaning of what he tweeted, perhaps on Facebook too, including the video he posted. So what had happened was INEC had, visited the president and they were telling him how many of their installations had been destroyed in the Southeast. And I think maybe that's one of the reasons why a lot of people are tiny to the Southeast, and of course the mention of the civil war.
Yes, those people who tied it to the Southeast are very, they are on very secure grounds to do by doing.
But the first part of that tweet, there was something there, because other people have said similar things, right? But there was something that says many of those misbehaving today. So he wasn't talking to everyone.
No, he wasn't talking to everyone. Remember when Jesus wanted to wake up Lazarus, he didn't say everybody who died should wake up. He said, Lazarus, comfort, wake up, comfort, come out here. The reason he said so was that he didn't want everybody who died to wake up. He was talking about this very person. The president was talking about a specific situation. That is it. If he had widened his conversation to include Boko Haram, if he had widened it to include...
No, but when he said they should stop, shoot aside anyone with an
AK-47, that hasn't happened.
Who was that conversation targeted at? Who was that?
That conversation was applied across board.
No, not applied. What was he addressing? Was it not the headers?
He was addressing the headers.
Primarily,
but it also applied to any other person.
No, leave the application. At that point, what was the focus? Was the headers?
No, there were some attacks, and people attacked him that he wasn't saying anything. Now, rather than coming directly to say, well, that these people, the headers, are responsible for X, Y, Z, therefore they carry AK-47, deal with them. He said, anyone. Are you following me? He said, anyone.
So those misbehaving, how is that now a Southeast problem?
Because he was addressing INEC people who are now giving inventory of things that were destroyed, basically, mostly in the Southeast, unfortunately.
All right. Let's get back to some other messages. I actually agree with your guests. He's so articulate on this. Moreover, have you noticed that fake news and misinformation has reduced drastically since the suspension? Let's not end up tweeting from refugee camps. Our country is more important than Twitter. Ask your guest if Nigeria can supply uninterrupted power for Twitter. What about the high cost of doing business in Nigeria, coupled with high level of insecurity? Ghana was a better idea, not hellish like where this person is tweeting, sending this post from.
No, see, that person has a very strong point there. That I remember I also mentioned electricity. I'm sorry, I didn't mention electricity. I want to give it to him, but I mentioned insecurity. These two key things, electricity and insecurity, were probably some of the key things Jack Dorsey and his group had in mind, because an investor is there to make money. Investors don't work for the Salvation Army, neither do they work for the International Red Cross. They work for their pocket, and at times they put profit over people. And so, to that extent, that comment is partially correct, but he should also acknowledge that I mentioned insecurity as one of the reasons that may have motivated them to move to Ghana.
But I was reading somewhere, and in some other countries where they thought that a person's tweet was offensive and attacking the government, the government did something. They had a chat with Twitter. Yes. The Nigerian government, I don't know that they've had any such conversations.
No, recall that dating back to 2015 when President Muhammadu Buhari came to power, a gentleman called Lai Mohammed Alhaji Lai Mohammed had been on trying to use his own paraphernalia, his platform, to control social media. The same social media he used when he was spokesman for APC that was in opposition at that time. It was the same social media that propelled them to the stage. Because
the same social media that propelled this government as well.
Yes, social media propelled them again. The two parties, the PDP and the APC, they both recognized. I just gave you the statistics of 100 million people tweeting 100 billion people tweeting, 100 million people tweeting 340 million times daily, and then 1.6 billion as such on Twitter every day. That everybody on both sides, they recognize the power of Twitter. But the problem is that in Nigeria, recall that if you are in opposition, you are a traitor. If you are in government, you are a patriot. So the people in government are patriots, the people in opposition are traitors. And so when the roles are reversed, they begin to accuse them again. The language of discourse between the government and opposition is a problem in Nigeria. You know, in other parts of the world, opposition is a loyal party trying to point out the errors of government so they can be corrected when they come to power. But here in Nigeria, opposition uses abusive language against government. Government uses such languages as so-called opposition. All these traitors, the people we are going to deal with them, cheap blackmail, and so to that are sponsored. Everything done by opposition is sponsored. As I'm here now, I am sponsored too. So that is the problem. The language of governance and the language of opposition do not work. In the UK, the member of the Prime Minister speaks on Wednesday. Then the member of opposition responds. In America, the government people speak, the member of opposition will respond. There's loyal opposition. Opposition is not loyal in Nigeria, and then government is also not respectful of opposition in Nigeria. That's why they can't have a decent conversation.
Yeah, but my question was, aside, I mean, you mentioned Lai Mohammed doing what he was doing. Did the government, are you aware, I'm not, that the Nigerian government has approached Twitter to say, these tweets are going to cause insecurity in our country. We want you to do something about it.
Yes, they have, but they did so half-heartedly. You know, when Lai Mohammed or whoever represents the government comes to the public media and begins to speak, he speaks as if they are in control of Twitter. They are not. Or they are in control of CNN. Remember when Lai Mohammed said CNN should be sanctioned? I still remember the angle of his mouth when he said it. And nothing has happened to CNN. The following day, Nina Ebad repeated even a worse version of the story she gave. The federal government must recognize that in a globalized information society, that it's difficult for you to control cyberspace. And since they can't control cyberspace, by 2015, federal government has gone on looking for a means of controlling social media, not Twitter. And so there was a build-up. That build-up culminated in deleting President Buhari's tweet and then this firestorm. It is not. There is fake news in Twitter, or on Twitter, sorry. There is short shift. People take on topics that interest them and shut out all others. There are a couple of other things Twitter has done that are not acceptable to governments, not just in Nigeria. But the fact is, government should have engaged Twitter properly.
It's an organization.
And after engaging them properly, and then government would have said, well, we have Nigerians look at it, we have engaged Twitter and Twitter is still not listening. This is what we intend to do. The fact that Adeboye and who else said that Adeboye and the other person said, no, I am not a fan of. Yes, I'm not a fan of.
We even have El Rufai, Makinde, some other people, some prominent people are still tweeting.
Exactly.
They bypassed the virtual.
You know, the fact that they are tweeting shows that how important it is. You know, we have not talked about the economic impact of it. A lot of people have lost. The big people are still going to be tweeting, but the people who really use Twitter to do daily business, the real consumers who use Twitter for their daily businesses, they lost over 2 billion every day, I am told, by one group they call Alto, the operators. Okay. So the problem there is that the federal government, luckily now I hear that the federal government is going to engage Twitter. And then but the platform where the announcement was made is faulty. The EU has sanctioned social media networks in EU to 28 EU countries before the UK pulled out. 27 countries are still sanctioning them. The US has sanctioned social media. Canada has sanctioned them. UK has sanctioned them. France sanctioned Google yesterday. So it is a matter of a measured mark of hypocrisy for them to come around to tell federal government what to do. Nigeria is a sovereign country, yes, but we need Twitter. Twitter needs us. It should be a symbiotic relationship. Twitter cannot say we are going to bypass you to give Nigerians opportunity. Nigerians too who tweet. This should be a lesson to all of us who tweet, that we must practice some measure of self-censorship. Self-censorship does not mean that you won't say what you want to say, but in saying it, there's polished language. There's a refined way of saying things. I can tell you to go to hell, and you look forward to going to hell, depending on the language in which I tell you to go to hell. There's a way somebody will say something good. It turns out to be negative. But there's a way somebody will say, go to hell. You look forward to it, based on the refined, polished language he used. Nigerians must learn to do refined discourse. You are a goat. I will kill your mother. I will do that. Those things are not proper kind of languages to use in discussion in the public space.
Well, Udo is very concerned about the economic side of things, but we don't have the time this morning. Bright says okay. Well, some people think that Lai Mohammed isn't looking at it clearly. That if they could ban someone like Donald Trump, then what is it here?
I agree. I am the first person to agree that Lai Mohammed should not have continued as information minister up to this moment. He's done his time. But the fact is that he has a job to do, and that job he has to do is a statutory job. He has to continue doing it until he's no longer able to do it. But that economic angle should have been considered before what happened.
Well, except you're new in this country, that's what we've been seeing. The government will take an action, and then before they visit, the consequences. But someone is asking that am I aware that Twitter deleted the president's message on their platform because Nigerians raised red flags against the president's controversial tweet? Yes, and that's the way it happens. When you flag a tweet, you report it. Twitter has a right. But I read it the other day, but Twitter also said there are exceptions.
Yes, let me also say
because if you look at Donald Trump's tweets, it was poison for years. It was, poison. It said that you don't even need to. It doesn't need to touch you. You just absolutely. It was poison.
It's like say toxic. Yes, very toxic, and
he was allowed. There were exceptions.
Yes. And
one of the, I know you don't want to talk about this, but it's inevitable because Lai Mohammed won't stop talking about Nnamdi Kanu's tweets.
Absolutely.
Text referenced it now that the people in Igbo are still suffering from the inciting post of Nnamdi Kanu.
I agree.
So in all of this, is Twitter not showing bias? Has Twitter not shown bias? Is Twitter's activity in Nigeria not suspicious?
A good note to end this conversation is just the question you asked me. Absolutely correct. See, the gentleman Nnamdi Kanu was not the first person to agitate for Biafra. Lieutenant Colonel Chukwuemeka Odumegwu, as he then was before he became a general in the Biafran and a commander of the Biafran forces, was the first person to start this agitation. When his own ended on January 10, 1970, there was a piece of interregnum, a long period of calm before Ralph Waziruke started Masob. His Masob went on. They tried violence initially. They tried some violence, but it didn't. They were overwhelmed, so they came down. He started engaging the federal government. This IPOB actually essentially broke out from Masob. Now the issue here is that if you read Nnamdi Kanu's tweets, they are as toxic as Donald Trump's tweets. They are as bad as the one for which the president was flagged. So the issue is that the measured mark of hypocrisy of Twitter was on display last Sunday when they now passed through the pigeonhole to delete Nnamdi Kanu's tweet that has been there since. And there was a time he talked about 14 days. After 14 days, there will be bloodbath in the streets of Nigeria. They talked about dealing with Nigerian soldiers and all that. So there are no saints in this business. And I didn't come. I told you I came here to discuss the policy side of it. I'm not interested in the politics of it, because if we have started the politics of it, there will be mayhem here, and that's what I don't want to discuss. But I said it again, and I wish to conclude on that note, that every country is sovereign. Granted that in the age of globalization, national boundaries have dissolved. Global organizations are now controlling discourse, controlling policy, controlling economics, controlling social, cultural contacts. No doubt about that. But Twitter must recognize that equilibrium, that balance of, if you are deleting Buhari's tweet, you delete all the tweets by those people who are also making it possible for Buhari to use such toxic language.
Yeah, but someone is saying that perhaps Nigerians did not flag it. They didn't report those tweets.
No, Nigerians don't have to flag it up for it to be wrong. You see, that's another...
No, it's not the wrongness or rightness. It's the flagging.
No, Nigerians can flag it. This gentleman, Lai Mohammed, have been complaining... What I said, the gentleman may also be correct, that Lai Mohammed have been complaining on Nigerian media, talking on NTA and all that, but you need to... You're
not engaging.
You need to engage them.
You need to engage.
But the fact that Twitter has deleted Nnamdi Kalu's tweet, not one, not two, a series of them.
The message has been sent.
The message has been sent. Buhari's message, President Buhari's, and not those who call him Buhari. President Muhammad Buhari was elected, so I have to show him respect. President Buhari's two tweets too, and Nnamdi Kalu's tweet, put them side by side, and then if you put them aside and look at what the rest of us are tweeting, the men and women of straw, people of straw, as you rightly corrected me, we probably may have said things worse than what Nnamdi Kalu have been saying and what President Buhari has said. Okay. But because we don't hold public offices, because we are probably inconsequential in the public space, they have ignored us. But the idea, I repeat, that Nigerians must learn to use polished language. If you look at Twitter, you see all manner of fractured English they use to address people.
Let's not do that.
And then, but the substance of it is what people are saying against each other. As long as we keep saying that, we raise tension to boiling point, and when Armageddon comes, everybody, do you know that there are no winners in war?
Yeah.
Nobody ever won wars. And the first casualty in war, according to J.P. Clark, is what? Truth. Truth is the first casualty in a war situation. And that's what we are suffering now.
Okay, so let's just wrap this up. We're here now. They're having conversations, foreign envoys, and they're all saying it's against the UN Charter, it's against rights of expression, it's against this, against that. And then they're having conversations with Twitter. Where do you see this going? Where do you see this ending? This
is economics, not for freedom of speech. The people, they know. If you know how much Nigerians have lost, and how much Twitter has lost, not just Twitter, the other platforms, they have some kind of associations, they have network things, they've all lost a lot. The European countries, remember that they have never sustained Europe, Canada, North America, on the basis of what they produce. It's always from Africa, Asia, and Latin America. These are the three continents that feed the West, whether they want to believe it or not. So to that extent, when they tell you, why are they finding all those, why are they slamming fines on all those social media giants if they believe in freedom of speech? Each time they slam a fine on them in the West, they are breaching their freedom of speech. The issue here is that the West is lamenting that there's going to be unemployment in the West if what's happening in Nigeria continues. Over 200 million people, 29 million tweeting. I'm not talking about Facebook and other platforms. So they are trying to ensure that it does not affect their economies coming out from a pandemic. So that's the way it is. It does not mean that they love freedom of speech. Right. If they love freedom of speech, why are they supporting the King of Saudi Arabia? Why are they supporting the Emir of Kuwait and Bahrain and Dubai? Why are they supporting dictatorships around the world? During the Cold War era, they supported dictatorships around the world. Didn't they know about freedom of speech?
So for you, it's a matter of economics.
It's a matter of economics and political convenience.
All right, final message here. Ego is in Shokpo says, there is a common adage in my place that says, when a big tree is falling in the forest, monkeys on another tree will be laughing, unknown to them that what fell was their house, not until they return and find that they have no place to live. Let us tread with caution in our country. If we continue to ridicule our president, we should know that we are doing so to our country, Nigeria, which is a sovereign state. Someone is there, and in that place, you are castigating and rubbishing like the monkeys. It could be you there tomorrow. What would you expect from the lad? Let us think. Dr. Williams, Wodi, thank you for your time.
I second that motion as a sign off.
My name is Enoh Ogbevire. The conversations continue. We'll bring you up to speed with the updates on our news every hour. from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. weekdays and on Nigeria Info.